Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nissa Maisarah Binti Zainuddin.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Aisyah, Binti Kamarul, Bahrin.
My name is Farah Wahidah Binti Murtadza.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Syafiqah Binti Razak.
And today, I'm going to start the presentation with the introduction. Firstly, poverty refers to the lack of adequate financial resources in which families, household or community cannot have the means to subsist or acquire the basic necessities to live a flourishing life. To be specific, poverty can be divided into two categories, which are rural poverty and also urban poverty. But specifically, this paper will only study urban poverty. So what is urban poverty? Urban poverty is also understood as a set of economic and social difficulties that are found in advanced cities. The problem today is the poverty line in urban area is very underestimated, and that causes people living in urban cities and those who are experiencing this neglected by the officials. Therefore, we believe that this is mainly because most definition and assessment of poverty are focused solely on income levels. Hence, they fail to take any of those aforementioned factors before into account. Ultimately, this paper intends to compare the results of child abuse cases in urban and rural settings and analyzes the traits linked with poverty using the most recent and credible data resources that are available.
Next, I will continue with the issues and problems that happens in Malaysia. Firstly, the growth of abused children and their needs are more likely to remain unmet due to a lack of funds. In Malaysia, the issue of child poverty has tragically persisted for a really long time. The right way to overcome this issue must be taken in the right manner. According to several points of view, the issue of child poverty has not gotten the proper amount of policy attention. Yet, the requirement of the children living in the poverty has been neglected for far too long. Recent policy development have led to an increase of financing allocation for children from poor family with a maximum of 1,000 per family. Still, money-metric poverty measurement are lacking in tackling child poverty. The other issue is negligence of the welfare of children. Although Malaysia has done a remarkable job raising the standard of living of its people, there are some new issues that needed immediate attention, especially in respect to the welfare of the children. In fact, indeed, when compared to other nations with similar situation of income per capita, stunting is getting more common in Malaysia, even though it has been declining globally. In the current study, it was discovered that the abused children had significant wasting, as evident by acute malnutrition. Lastly, poverty creates aggravating circumstances for violence and present barriers to escaping abuse. Although basic like physical stress and drug abuse, which are both constantly linked to poverty and don't directly cause domestic violence, they can still impact or complicate the violence. Due to that obstacle, numerous of victims of domestic violence will not be capable to exit welfare in time for the recent welfare reform time restriction. Due to their complete fiscal dependence on their abuser, it will be tough to leave domestic violence because the abused child have no other means of supporting themselves. As a result, child survival fall behind academically, perform poorly, or even stop attending school altogether.
Now I will talk about the implications of urban poverty and child abuse. The first implications that may occur is in terms of health. Malaysian Institute of Economic Research (MIER) estimates that more than 2/3 of Malaysians live in urban regions. Thus, it may give impacts towards poverty people, especially poor children. It's because care seeking is lower for the poor people when compared to rich families, and people who are living in urban areas frequently have trouble accessing healthcare. Next, other impact faces poor child is it may cause stunting and underweight from child. Urban poor had higher rates of stunting and mortality than their rural counterpart. There is some study from UNICEF that state 50% of children under the age of 5 are underweight and 20% of children are stunted.
Now, I will be discussing about the implications in education, which is the first one is children fall behind in their studies. Education is very important for everyone, especially children who need to learn many things. With the existence of urban poverty, it causes children to miss out on many things to learn due to the parents who are unable to afford their children's schooling costs. This has been proven in 2020, which is more than 20,000 students, including the urban poverty, who quit school. This has a bad effect on children in the future because they cannot continue studying and it is hard for them to get a good job because they don't have the qualifications to work. This will also make the statistic of unemployed people increase in the future. Next, it will lead to the destruction of children's morals. This will cause their children to be more easily influenced by bad influences because they did not get the right education and have too much free time. Too much free time here means that they don't have time like the other children who have time to go to the school, to do revision, and also to do their homework. This will obviously have an impact on the economy because the amount of poverty will be increasing and it is not impossible if one day that these children will commit crimes. This makes crime statistic will be increasing and causes foreign investors to feel hesitate to invest in Malaysia in the future.
What about the impact of poverty on our society? In terms of society, poverty can create considerable stress for families. As we can see, due to economic pressure, they have to live in crowded and unstable housing. As parents do not have enough money, children feel resentment when the parents cannot afford modest luxuries. Even school uniforms are distant dream for them. According to the Free Malaysia Today 2019, children from B40 families in Kuala Lumpur struggle just to get school uniform and supplies every year. Due to this affects the children's motivation to go to school. On top of that, low-earning households are more likely to deal with defaults. This is because increased poverty challenge make it difficult for them to maintain their marriage. Single mothers often have to bear the burden of family income alone, resulting in working overtime to find more income. Therefore, we can conclude that the time poverty problem has robbed parent-children quality time and disproportionately affected the poor.
Now I will talk about the first recommendations that relates in terms of health is strengthen healthcare services and provide programs that emphasize poor children. Thus, Malaysia's government provides some solutions and recommendations to eradicate health poverty among urban and rural poverty is by implementing National Policy of Quality in Healthcare (NPQH). This policy be implemented by the government in order to give directions or guide for the public and private health sectors so that healthcare quality can be improved by offering an official clear policy statement detailing the strategy and actions required at all levels of health services delivery within Malaysia's health system. Next, another program that emphasizes poor children is by providing supplementary food program SFP. There are many achievements that have been achieved from this program. According to research by Muhammad Sharil found that 97% of the students loved the food given and 88.6% said they ate all that was provided. But in this program, it has weakness, which is the Education Ministry need to increase allocation for this program. According to research from Kandia and T 1990, found that the impact of RMT is reducing protein in a meal due to price hike of raw. Due to increase in raw material prices, the present rates of RM2 50% for students in the peninsula and RM3 in Sabah, Sarawak and Labuan are no longer valid. as no increased allocations may give impact on food such as less nutritious ingredients or offer smaller portions.
Now I will be talking about the recommendations in education. The first one is strengthening the law related to education. There's no doubt that there are various laws in Malaysia that related to education from the beginning of the school until they finish their school that have been created and implemented. But until now, the compliance with the law that has been enacted is not only not total, but the compliance with the law can be said that to be weak. In fact, the law that oblige parents to send their children to the secondary school until the end of schooling needs to be created, implemented, and carried out consistently. This has been proposed by the Malaysian Ministry of Education (MOE), which has also sent a draft of proposal to implement a compulsory education at the secondary school level. Next is providing free education for school students. This is because the main reason for some of the urban poverty that fail to send their children to school is because they don't have enough money. So, this can be used as one of the initiatives or one of the efforts from the government to provide free education to students. It is impossible for the government to provide free education to school or to all students in total, but the government can start by providing free education to those who really need it first, such as the B40 group who really deserve it, including the B40 group who live in the urban areas.
So, what government has done to overcome poverty issue? What are the solutions? Let's check into it. According to the Department of Statistics Malaysia, on 2022, birth rate have been falling steadily. However, states like Kelantan, Sarawak, and Kedah, who had high poverty rates coming up to 12%, 9%, and 8.8% respectively. The total fertility rate in some of these states was higher than others. This is because women living in poor communities tend to have less access to family planning services. They may perceive religious opposition or disapproval on the part of their husband or family members. Hence, family planning programs are most needed in Malaysia as we aim to alleviate poverty, reduce maternal, and foster economic development. Family planning programs have to be revived, which were first introduced in the first 1970s in order to reduce poverty. Family planning is an effective way of controlling fertility within a human rights framework by giving couples the ability to have their desired family size. Women, Children and Community Development Ministry play a crucial part in providing the services by educating women about the contraceptive methods and the side effects. Thus, it is important for the government to reach those in greatest need by making family planning accessible to all. The end result at the family level will positively impact the health of women and children, easing pressure on family resources and increasing our family chance to escape the trap of poverty.
In conclusion, the danger of child abuse cases can be reduced by addressing urban poverty comprehensively, especially offering economic possibilities, social support, access to high-quality education, and also healthcare. Additionally, stopping the cycle of abuse and promoting better environment for kids can be accomplished by putting preventive measures in place, including family planning, physical and mental health services, and also community-based interventions. With that, I end this presentation. Thank you for watching.